Hey guys, thank you for tuning into my YouTube channel. The very first video that I uploaded was basically a quick tutorial onto how I create dust covers for my candles. A lot of you guys know, especially the ones who make candles, that when you're starting out, a lot of things start to add up quick, like quick. From the candle vessel to the wick to the labels. You start spending some money, okay? The prices start going up, you start spending some money. Starting out, especially when you're funding it yourself, is always good to find some kind of alternatives when it comes to what you can buy, what you shouldn't buy, things that you can alternate with. As of right now, I am using dust covers as opposed to lids for some of my vessels. However, this video, I'm going to go into more detail about how I designed the template on Canva, as well as how I printed them out using my Epson printer over there. I will go into you guys with the model, the type of print that I use, as well as the paper that's used for it. There's different type of paper, but we'll get into that as well. I'm also going to get into the Cricut machine as well, my Cricut Maker. I haven't had it that long, but I have used one before, but it was for something completely different. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask me in the comment section below. And for my fellow candle makers that's inside of the Facebook groups as well, I'm going to post this video into the groups as well, so you guys can feel free to ask me any questions whatsoever that you may have there. But yeah, just stay tuned. Thank you guys again for watching. We're going to go ahead and get into the video. But yep, I hope you enjoy. Just go ahead and create this dust cover. It's just something really quick that I threw together. This is my company's name, which is Kindle and Flame. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this together, and then also probably put in a couple extra little details. But let's go ahead and pull up Safari or whatever you use your internet browser on. You're going to go to Canva's website. Once you get to Canva, you're going to create a design. Now, majority of all of these, they're going to give you some suggested sizes and, pixel sizes, and as well as in inches also. I usually just get a regular Instagram post. It's going to give you this blank white square. This is perfect just to do like the dust cover on, or just simple logos, just something small, just square. So what we're going to do is go over to Elements. Elements is going to be where they have all the stock pictures, like of illustrations, grids, shapes, stickers for animation. So say if you want to do some social media, you can animate it, for example. So let's say if I just throw these in there, right? I just throw some stuff together. Okay. You do have the option of animating it also, or say if you have text, you can choose whether it's block, fade in, tumble, baseline. So it's pretty cool thing. I think this one's really cute. The scrapbook is adorable. So it's different cool things that you can do with social media. I can make another video, basically just a walkthrough on how to use Canva, or just how to do like a lot of these kind of animations and things like that. Yeah, so they can be really fun. So what we're going to do is go ahead and remove these off. We're going to start with 2 circles. Now I do use wooden wicks. Like as of right now, I use wooden wicks. So for the sake of the video, we're going to do an opening for the wooden wick. The last video that I made, we did a regular circle for the cotton wicks. But for those who want to know how to do the wooden wicks, we can do that as well. So we're going to start off with 2 circles. I'm going to go ahead and turn the background black. You'll see why, but it basically just helps me get in the mode. Like, this is a dust cover, and it just doesn't look like a bunch of little circles together. So we're going to change these to white. Now, depending on your cardstock, you can change it to whatever color you want. But usually if you have white, this is where you can play around with the color that you're changing it to. You just click on it, same thing I did, and they have the grid here as well. If you have like glitter cardstock or some kind of net, black or a dark colored cardstock, you wouldn't necessarily need to change the color of it. But we're going to go ahead. This larger circle is going to be our dust cover. It doesn't really matter how big you make it. Now, Canva comes through, okay? Canva will help you center it. So this little guy right here, we're going to make this smaller because it's going to be our tab for our dust cover. Now, what we're going to do is, usually from the last video, I told you guys start off with 3 circles. We're going to do a square instead because we're going to do a wick, open it for the wooden wick. I'm going to make this black as well. Now, they don't really have a rectangle on here. You guys will see that. They do have some stuff down here, but I mean, it starts to get off topic. Like, we don't need that. We're just going to go ahead and squish the square down. We're going to make our own rectangle. This right here looks about, it looks about right. Usually the wick that I use is from the Wooden Wick Company. It's between like 0.5 to 0.625. Either way, you can fit either of those in there. I kind of just make a generalized larger size. That way I don't have to keep making a bunch of dust covers. You save yourself a lot of money and time also. So we're going to center this as well. A really quick thing as well, also, if you guys have a thicker cardstock material, you can actually make your own wick centering tool. So if you guys have a clear vessel, no tab, but just like this, sit your cup on top of it, and it'll actually help you center your wick, because that is a really big issue that does come up, especially when you're starting out making candles. So now we have the basic template done. The candle that we're going to, well, the template that we're going to do is this one right here. So what we're going to do is get the flowers in Elements. There's a whole bunch of different things here. Scroll down, and then there's the bold foliage. It's a whole bunch of really pretty, like desert-esque flowers that's here. I use this one. I already had toned one out with the color scheme that I wanted, so I'm just going to copy and paste it here. Now, that guy's going to go there. And what else did I have? Let's just leave this up just so I can use this for reference. Okay, so, and then I have that flower there as well. Okay, and I'm actually just going to pull it from over here. And copy it, and it's actually over here as well. They automatically come in these colors, but you guys can go ahead and set your own tone color wise. So you can play around with the things that are here, and this is really helpful also. So say if you guys have a photo or a picture, or if you already came up with colors that you like, it is hard trying to get those same exact colors. So what Canva does is record your document colors, so that's pretty good. So we're just going to go ahead and delete that because I already copied it from the actual photo that I have. And I'm going to put this on there. This is in the front. You guys can play around with positioning also. So with the positioning, you click on this, and you can, the same flower, you can either move it all the way to the back, the far back where it's like it's gone, or just forward. And we're going to have it forward. Now, next what we're going to do is go ahead and get the font going. Pretty much, I don't really use the regular hitting for the dust covers, or pretty much anything that I do. It depends. If it's for social media, yes. But if it's for things like my labels, I don't, because the regular hitting can be way too bold, especially when you're printing it out. So I do sub-hitting. Now with the sub-hitting, I'm just going to go to one of my go-to fonts, which is pretty basic, this Monster Classic. And then I'm going to go ahead and type in my brand name, which is Kindle and Flame. My keyboard is really loud. So I'm going to go ahead and center that. And again, Canva will help you center it. This little line right here, no. You want to get this bold one. That's how you know it's centered. Pull it up some. Now I'm going to get the little body text, and I'm going to go ahead. I don't know why it starts off so tiny also. I'm going to change this. So I do like this font. It's called Mr. Defoe. It's basically just cursive. But for this, I'm going to do Marta. And I'm just going to put home decor. Okay. Now I do have my own logo. Up here are your uploads in Canva. So anything that you upload into here, they save it basically. So this is like an alternate label. One of my labels I use on estate non-paper, as well as the Crest white felt from Sheet Labels. I believe that's where I got it from. I can list that below. Stock photos that I took, product photos I took of some of my candles. I'm just going to go down. This is a logo that I made. My son drew this. These are some of my drawings as well. I do illustrations, and I do a lot for my candles also. So we're going to go ahead and size this. Now, if you upload a photo on Canva, a lot of times you'll have a background. Don't sweat it, even if you can't get the background off from wherever you got it from. I just made this on Procreate, I believe. I use Procreate for all my drawings. Just go ahead and remove the background. And she's doing her thing. Okay, so she's done. And we're just going to size that out, and then you can place it. If you guys have your own logo, you can go ahead and, you know, adjust it the way you need. You can remove the background. So Canva does come through and help you with that also, as well. Now what we're going to do is go ahead and add the text for the, well, the scent of the candle. We're just going to go ahead and adjust this on here. Now you can play around with the sizing as well as the curvature of it. For my other candles, because of, I mean, the labels, they're square, well, rectangles. So I actually have them more on the side. But for this, because it's circular, it doesn't really work that way. Canva does not have a way yet to curve the text. You can do it the hard way and then curve each letter at a time. But I mean, come on. If you have the Cricut Design Studio, you can curve the text in there. But I can show you guys how to do that as well. Now we have the Desert Blossom font right here. I am going to pull this up a little bit just so this isn't overlapping too much with the text. Now I have that on there, pretty basic. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead back to Elements, and then I'm going to scroll down to the lines. I do use the lines a lot. You guys will see that there are a bunch of different options in there. Now I do have Canva Pro. Now, Canva Pro is about like $12.99 a month. It does pay for itself because, again, you'll use it for everything, whether it's your labels, your dust covers, if you guys do social media marketing, like on Facebook, Instagram, you know, your posts on your website, your Etsy shop, like whatever you guys use, it will pay for itself. It is really, really, really helpful. I mean, I honestly don't know what I would do without it. So let me just scroll down. There are a bunch of different other options on Canva as far as editing wise that you can do. I did show you guys briefly in the other video that I did, basically just how to, if you have a photo that you want to add to Canva or your label, how to do that. You want to go to Elements still, and then go where you see frames, and then you click a frame, and with the frame you can actually drag and drop photos in here. So let's say if I have a stock photo from Canva, just drag it over and see it fills up the circle, as opposed to if you try to put it, delete grid, if you try to put it on here, it ain't gonna work. So the frame is really good if you're doing labels that have photos, or if you're doing this, social media, anything that requires photos to be in that specific shape, especially if you have harder shapes like this little scallop, or if you want to put a photo inside of your iMac for whatever reason, or a cell phone, it's actually cute. But yeah, so what we're going to do is actually group all of this together. So to group, you just click outward. So anywhere out here, you're just going to highlight everything. So automatically everything is highlighted, right? So we're going to go to group, and what that does is make it one piece. So instead of me moving one item, or I move the background accidentally, oops, everything's out of, you know, it's out of pocket. It's fine. Like, it's all grouped together. So now what we're going to do is go ahead to download. I did explain this in the previous video. With the download, you want to click download. So we're just going to go to PNG, high quality image. Now with the PNG, pretty much everything's except PNG. So like some of the major formats, PNG, JPEG, and then PDFs, PNGs preferably. So size wise, you can do a 1.5 or a 2. And this basically just like heightens like the amount of pixels that the document is. Now, most things like the Cricut Design Studio, or even like if you guys have your own website, you guys know that the document is too big, it will not support it. It does give you a heads up by increasing the image size. It will take longer to download. This can give you issues on your website or your social media, because basically it'll be blurry because it does not have enough power basically to move it, well, to download it. We're going to do it too. Now when you export it from Canva, you always want to do a transparent background. This is only for PNG. Basically what this does is it's gonna remove this entire background, and I did explain that in the other video as well. So we're just gonna go ahead and download. So once we have this downloaded on here, you see basically it's the same thing. And it's just like a quick design that I did just threw together just for the video. So once we have that done, we're going to minimize this. This is one of my illustrations for my candle, one of my girls. We're going to go to the Cricut Design Studio. So as soon as this pulls up, so once you have it open, let me actually make this a little bit smaller. Go ahead and start a new project. Now with the new project, now I can show you guys also in a separate video like how to do certain, templates or designs or printouts using just the design space as well. Not everyone has Canva, especially Canva Pro. Canva has so many different free options as well. So we're going to take our photo, which is right here. I'm going to go to upload first, upload image. I'm going to take the cover that we did. Okay, so another thing you guys can do as well, you guys can play around with it. Normally on all of my dust covers, I do have the weight of my candle as well. So the weight itself is like the net weight, not actually like how much the glass plus the candle weighs, just the amount of wax that you have. So I normally put 8.5 ounces, like handmade in Baltimore, Maryland, but not on this one. So when selecting your image type, there's simple, moderately complex, and complex. I always do complex just because it gives you a lot more options when it comes to editing it. Now I'm going to hit continue. Now automatically, let me back out, it's going to look like this. Now this is the main reason why I said export the dust cover with the transparent background, because once you transport it, it's going to look like this. The whole background will be blurred out. The only thing you have to do is to get rid of this. Now, what I used to do was erase it, and it was choppy. So I just do select and erase. And this is why you want to make sure that everything else is behind this. So even if you have something overlapping this, just make sure it's behind it. Continue. And now we're going to get here. Now, I always do save as a print and then cut, because you can send it to your printer and then cut it. Okay, so it's loaded. We're going to go ahead and select upload, and then insert the image into here. Now, the diameter is really important. If you're not sure what the diameter is of your glass, wherever you bought your candle from, just check the diameter. Usually what I do is about between 2 and 4 like dots, and I don't really know what else to call it, but I do like 2 to 3 dots under whatever the diameter is. So for example, I have the Candle Science straight-sided tumbler. Now the tumbler itself is 3.06 inches in diameter. I am not going to make my dust cover that size because it will be it'll just sit on top of it basically. So what I'm going to do is, go ahead and unlock this, and then I'm going to change it to 3.02, and basically that'll just fit directly, like perfectly inside. And I do the same thing for both of them, 3.02. Okay, just to get that sizing done. And this is the actual diameter that I'm going to use. It does look very tiny, but trust me, it's going to print out pretty big. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and make some copies of these. Now also, I did mention with the text, for example, if you want to do some curvature text, so let's say, for example, if you have this already laid out, but you're like, hey, I want to curve some text. You can just go ahead and type, which I wish Canva did have this feature, but you can just go ahead and type something, and then up here is going to give you the option to curve. You can adjust how much of a curvature you want. No. So, for whatever reason, if you want to go this route, but usually it's something more like this or like that. But that is an option that you have, and say once you have it and you say, hey, I want to put it on there, and then you can just size it to fit onto your candle, like wherever you're going to put it. Now, what we're going to do is go ahead and go to Make It. So the printer that I use is the Epson ET2760 printer. It does feature refillable ink as opposed to cartridges. What I'm going to do is go ahead and send these to the printer. So I'm going to go ahead and click select continue, we're going to send it to the printer. Now, right here, it gives you the option to add bleed. Depending on what I'm doing, I'll leave the bleed on. Usually, this just helps pull colors towards the inner portion or outwards. So we already went ahead and removed the place where we'll have the wick coming through. So that's not really necessary. If I had like a lot of color around it, then I probably would, but we're going to go ahead and remove that off. And now I'm going to go ahead and print it. So really quickly, I wanted to show you guys the printer that I use. It is the Epson ET2760 EcoTank inkjet printer. It does feature refillable ink as opposed to traditional cartridges that you may see on some inkjet printers as well as some laser printers as well. It is very easy to load. This right here is where you put the ink. I was really intimidated the very first time that I got it, only because I had no idea what the heck I was doing. But eventually I got a hang of it. It is a really, really, really good printer. I would recommend using it. If you do have it, just play around with the settings a little bit for the quality of the paint that you're going to be printing. So at this point, I'm already printed. What I'm going to do is go ahead and set the base material. Now, I am using cardstock. I am using a light cardstock. The type of wax that I use is a coconut wax blend. So me personally, I do prefer to use a lighter cardstock. You can mess around with the pressure as well, but I normally just set it to default because that works pretty fine with this specific cardstock. So now what I'm going to do is go ahead and open up my Cricut Maker. I already have the dust covers printed out, and here's what they look like. I actually did go ahead and mute the colors a little bit just because I wanted to have a pretty soft tone to them. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and pull out my Cricut mat. When you buy the Cricut machine, it does come with two mats. One is the pink one for fabrics, and the other one is this blue one here, and I believe this is a light grip. I'm just going to go ahead and pull the film off of it. Basically, it just helps keep the adhesive on there pretty strong. Now, you want to go ahead and take your paper and line it up to the ruler that's on both sides of the mat. Now, this basically just helps the Cricut machine read where your paper is, just so it can cut more accurately. Now, I do like to push it down a little bit just to make sure that it's really on there. Now, once you go ahead and adhere it to the mat, you're going to go ahead and insert it into your Cricut Maker. So once you insert it into your Cricut machine, you're going to press the very first button that's lighting up. That's going to pull the mat into the wheels to get the alignment correct. The second button that's going to start flashing, that is going to be what is going to start the entire process with your Cricut and the cutting. So it's going to start cutting. Now your Cricut automatically knows where it needs to cut. So that's one of also the most important things when we're exporting it from Canva. When we're exporting it, we're doing it as well with a transparent background. That way it doesn't look choppy as if we had to remove it on our own in the design studio space. So this is going to take, it depends. They do have fast mode available, but to keep the quality as best as possible, I keep it off. But it's going to start cutting after a couple of minutes. I would say maybe like 1 or 2 minutes, it'll be complete. So let's go ahead and wait for that. So really quickly, I did want to show this to you guys. This is what your design studio will look like while your mat is cutting. So once your Cricut is done, you're going to press the first button to eject the mat from the Cricut itself. Now what you have is, cut dust covers now. So you're going to go ahead and pull the excess material off, which is your cardstock or whatever material that you guys decide to use for this. Now you're going to be left with these. You just have to peel off. Now I was on Amazon when I was actually buying more cardstock, and I purchased this from Kingfinger. It's just Cricut cutting tools. Now it's all the basic tools inside, and excuse this, I should not be putting this on the mat, but it is an older one. What we're going to use is the scraper tool right there, and that's what we're going to use to actually pull up the dust covers. So it does come with everything basic. The scissors, some tweezers are in there, the scraper tools. So it actually does come with quite a few things, and it's actually in this cute little pouch also. I'll go ahead and list that in the bio or the description bar below. Now we're going to go ahead and use the scraper tool. You guys can get the one by Cricut. I just did not feel like waiting for that shipping to come. Now what I do is I bend the mat. So you want to bend the mat and then slide the spatula underneath of it just to help pull it up. You don't want to peel your your dust covers away, only because they're going to bend. They're going to roll up. This way they stay as flat as possible. I still take a book or just something heavy after I'm done just to put over top of them anyway, just to make sure that they are super flat under there. Now, what you're going to be left with is your dust covers. The insert pieces that we took out in the design studio, those are gone. So now we're just left with this. Now, these ones, as I mentioned, I do leave them wide enough to fit wicks ranging from a 0.5 to 0.625. And here's an example of the dust cover on one of my candles. This is one of the labels that I made myself also. So it looks pretty good and it fits perfectly. And here is a up close look of it as well. We're just going to go ahead and finish. Now, once you finish, it's going to take you right back to the same page. You have the option of going ahead and save your project. You can go ahead and save it as whatever you want. And then once you save it, you'll be able to always go back to this and then print out, especially if you have, especially if you use it a lot. All right. But I do want to go ahead and thank you guys for watching my video. I hope this one was a little bit better than the other one because you guys got to see me print out the dust covers as well as put it and cut it into the Cricut machine. But if you guys have any questions, just please feel free to ask me in the comment section below. I will go ahead and list everything shown in the video as far as the supplies and the equipment that I used. And if you're in the Facebook group, again, you guys feel free to ask me anything that you need. But I do want to thank you guys again for tuning in. This is Kira, and enjoy the rest of your day.